Okay, so picking up where we left off, I actually liked this better when we had only a padding of 10, so I'm going to change this padding to a 10. And now what we're going to show you how to do is how to use Flexbox in this design here to have your objects inside of a container flow without you having to really position them individually. So let's go ahead and put some text inside of this row here. So I'm just going to add a text layer, and it's going to be my name. Okay, there we go. I'm going to change the font because we don't need a monospace font anymore. Make it a little bit bigger, make it white. Here we go. Okay, so we now have my name in here, and let's go ahead and actually move this layer into there. So I'm going to give this a class name of just name. Okay, pretty straightforward. So now let's actually add one more item in here, and the last one I'm just going to add is a triangle here. So we can go to shape, triangle. Let's go ahead and add a triangle. I'm going to make it here. Let's rotate it a bit, and I'm going to stretch it out just this way a little bit. Okay, fine. So now we have this arrow here, right? And let's give this triangle, let's bring it down here, and let's modify the name. So we're just going to have arrow, and it's going to be dot arrow, just for consistency's sake. By the way, you can really name, as you've seen with this Scott Tolinsky layer, you can name the layer whatever you'd like. The class name just has to correspond with the styles that you're giving it. Okay, so now all these items are inside of this container, and we're only really defining anything with photos. So what do you suppose happens when we select off everything and do Command-Control-L? Well, you'll notice that they stack vertically except for the triangle. Because it hasn't been giving any sort of dimensions, it gets this negative 0.1 height, it gets all messed up. So I'm going to do Command-Z and get things back to where they were. Okay, so let's define some things here. And we want this triangle, which we had classed as dot arrow, to be width. We'll have it be 40, and height, we'll have it be 35. Okay? Now we do Command-Control-L. You can see that they all stack like this. And you might be wondering about the stacking order. So you'll notice it's reversed to how they are in the layer property. So we have Scott Tolinsky, then we have the photo, then we have the arrow. As it's going down, it hits each one of these and stacks them on top. What if we don't want these stacked vertically? We want them laid out horizontally along this rectangle. What we can do is on the row, we can add some Flexbox properties. So we can simply say flex direction row. By saying flex direction row, we're basically saying instead of being a column here, actually I need to spell flex correctly, not with an R. Okay, there we go. Now we can have Command-Control-L, and you'll see that these are all laid out now in a horizontal row. Now this is pretty good, however the order is all messed up. We want the circle, then my name, and then the triangle. So let's go ahead and reorder them. So we want the circle, then my name, then the triangle, Command-Control-L. And now we have some issues. The arrow is getting pushed off because this text box has been given way too much width here. It's set to a fixed width, and the width is 335 pixels. So this isn't really flexing, things are just sort of showing up as their size. We could always just put this text box to auto and it would fix it. However, let's try something else. Since we have the CSS here, let's go ahead and I'm going to add a new property for name, open and close. Now I'm going to give this flex a weight. So the name, let's just give it a flex of 2. Okay? Let's click off Command-Control-L, and you'll now see that the triangle shows up on here. So what did I just do? Well, this flex of 2 is basically just saying that your name here, this name class, has a weight of 2. So basically this one's going to take up much more space than these other two items here. Now we have some weird alignment issues since this is only 30. The arrow here is only 35 pixels tall. It's not lining up vertically with the circle. So since we have 40 versus 35, let's actually add a margin top to this arrow, and we're just going to have it be margin top. And we're just going to have it be 3 pixels to try to make up some of that difference. Command Control L pushes it down, looks a little bit better. Now we want to actually give some space in here, so we can say name. Let's give name a margin left of 10. Okay, Command Control L, and you can see we got that space. Now let's go ahead and add a margin top to the name as well. And we'll just say 10. Okay, that could probably get pulled back to like a 8 or 9, even though it's just nitpicking at this point. Let's go ahead and try that once more. Perfect. Okay, so this is starting to come together. It's starting to look a lot better, and the best part is it flows into whenever we make any modifications, things just sort of fit in where they can. So let's go ahead and add a square. Actually, we're just going to add a rectangle, and I'm going to show you how this works. This is going to be really super cool. So we throw this rectangle in here anywhere. And now I'm actually going to give this a class of photo as well, just so we can get width and height. So we can say square is going to be, so we can just say rec is going to be photo. And now let's do Command Control L. And as you can see, the first item, the circle, is still first 10 pixels in from the row. The last item is still 10 pixels in from the right of the row, and this new square just sort of filters in. If we were to change the order of this, Command Control L, which is something you'll get used to, it's now doing the exact same thing, just reversed order. Okay, so let's get rid of the square. It was better without it. So let's get rid of it. There we go. Cool. Now let's actually take this row and let's duplicate it. I'm going to hold down Option and drag a couple times here. And now that we have a few rows, I'm going to go ahead and rename these to get rid of this copy at the end of here. So they're just row period row. Now if these were real rows of things, you might want to label them accordance to what they actually are. Okay, so now that we have those rows, we can now once again do Command Control L. And now, just like that, we've taken one style that we had here, we've distributed it, we've aligned it, we've whatever, but now we can modify any of these individually in any sort of way. We can change the text to say, okay, there we go. We can change the text, we can modify the background, we can do whatever we'd like here, and now once we hit Command Control L, regardless, it's not going to change anything. It's just going to take the layout that we defined and make sure everything fits the layout. So that way, if you've done this design comp now and somebody says, that's great, but we actually don't want these to be 10 pixels from the border, we want them to be 15 pixels from the border. Now, before you'd have to select these, you would have to resize them, you'd have to worry about the things that are, you'd have to worry about the content inside those, moving those over as well for every single one of these. And if you have a whole lot of them, it could be a huge pain. Now, we can simply come here and inside of our container, we can say, we want this margin left to be 15, we want the margin top to be 15, and we want the width to be 345 instead, because that's 10 more pixels. And we're going to have to change the width of the row itself too, to be 345. Now, if you want to see something else interesting, we can always come in here to this container and get rid of the width here as well. So now, since we've defined the width of the row, we only have to define it here. Let's go ahead and click out, Command Control L. And you'll notice, just like that, we have this padding in here. And now we want to add 5 more pixels to the margin bottom. Command Control L, and we now have more spacing between all of these. Now imagine how much fun that would have been with content and a design that you've been working on for a while using the built-in distribute tool in Sketch. It would have taken a long time and it would have been a huge pain. Now, some things to know about this is that these classes are only going on are only pertained to what's on this page. If you have other pages, they will not apply. And you can certainly visually hide these classes if you're not using them. You can lock and hide them or something. And let's modify our design here. Move this over here, Command Control L. You'll notice they still work. So they don't have to be visible to be working. So like I said, this is a completely game-changing plugin for Sketch 3. It allows you to create these flexible layouts so easily. Now in the next video, we're going to show you how to create actual prototypes and use those prototypes as part of your design, and then have your design snap to what's defined in your prototypes. So as always, this is Scott with Level Up Tutorials. If you have any questions or comments, leave a comment in the video or hit us up at Twitter or Facebook at Level Up Tutorials. We love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.